in a quiet corner of the city, there stood a small, unassuming cafe. It wasn't anything special. No flashy decorations, no complicated menu. Just a few simple wooden tables, the gentle hum of soft music, and a small handwritten sign hanging near the door. The sign read, "If you need someone to listen, you can sit here." Most people who passed by probably thought it was just a quaint piece of decor, a sentimental touch. But it was much more than that. Every single evening, the owner of the cafe, a man named Daniel, would take a seat at a small table right by the window. He wasn't waiting for a rush of customers. He was waiting for people. People who needed someone to talk to, someone to truly hear them. This practice had started a few years back, born from a difficult time in Daniel's own life. He had lost someone very close to him, and in the depth of his grief, he came to a profound realization. We are constantly surrounded by people in crowded cities, busy workplaces, even our own homes. Yet so many of us feel utterly and completely alone. One evening, a young man stumbled into the cafe. He looked bone-tired, with deep, dark circles under his eyes, betraying a heavy burden. He ordered a coffee and just sat there, wrapped in a heavy silence for what felt like an eternity. His eyes eventually drifted over to the small sign by the door. "If you need someone to listen." He looked over at Daniel, his gaze filled with a mix of skepticism and hope. "Do you really mean that?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Daniel simply nodded, a gentle invitation in his eyes. So, the young man moved over to Daniel's table, and slowly, hesitantly at first, he began to talk. He spoke of the job he had just lost. He spoke of the crushing pressure from his family to succeed. He spoke of the overwhelming feeling that he was a failure, that he had let everyone down. Throughout it all, Daniel didn't say a word. He didn't interrupt with advice or offer easy platitudes. He didn't judge, he just listened. He offered the young man the rare gift of his full, undivided attention. When the young man finally finished speaking, a visible change had come over him. His shoulders seemed less slumped. The tension in his face had eased, not because his problems had magically vanished, but because, for the first time in a long time, someone had truly heard him. As he got up to leave, he said something that Daniel would carry with him forever. "Thank you," he said. "I didn't need advice. I just needed someone who would listen." Word of mouth is a quiet but powerful thing. In the months that followed, people started coming to the cafe for a new reason. It wasn't for the quality of the coffee, but for the quality of the conversation. A single mother, feeling overwhelmed by the weight of the world, found a moment of respite. A college student, grappling with crippling anxiety, found a space to voice her fears without judgment. An elderly man who had outlived all his friends and family found a friendly ear to share his memories with. Each person came, sat down, and shared their story. And for each one, Daniel listened. No interruptions, no easy fixes, just quiet, compassionate understanding. One night, a woman came into the cafe. She looked around, her eyes landing on the sign, and then on Daniel. She walked over to his table, and with a soft smile, she said, "Thank you for doing this." Daniel, humble as ever, smiled back. "Doing what?" he asked. She gestured toward the sign. "Listening," she replied. "The world needs more of that." Daniel paused for a moment, reflecting on all the stories that had been shared at that small table. "Sometimes," he said thoughtfully, "people don't need solutions. They just need to know their voice matters." Years went by, and the small cafe earned a special nickname in the neighborhood. People started calling it the Quietly Heard Caf, not because it was a silent place, but because every person who walked through its doors felt something incredibly rare in our noisy world. They felt heard, and in a world where everyone is talking, shouting, and competing to be the loudest, sometimes the most powerful, most healing thing you can do is simply listen. If this story touched you, subscribe to Quietly Heard, because somewhere out there, someone just needs a moment to be heard.